Hello and welcome to Logos College Online Learning. All right, this is Achan Tato. Today, I want to continue on our visuals. And we talked about previous videos. We made a vertical bar graph. Right, when we're picking different visuals. We're converting information into nice, clear visuals. And then last video, I talked about a horizontal bar graph, and we change this information into this. And horizontal bar graph is very nice to show, or when you're comparing many things to one variable. In this case, the variable is the preferred teaching method, and there are many teaching methods. Okay, today I want to talk about the pie graph, and I'm also going to talk to you about the line graph. Right? So the pie graph is very useful to show sections. Right? So each part of the pie graph is called a section. Right? There's a blue section, the green section, the red, the orange. Pie graphs are useful to show sections of population, sample size. All right? Answers is good to show how many and what percentage of. So look at this example they gave you, and they picked, this person initially picked the wrong type of graph. Right? They use a vertical bar graph where they shouldn't use a pie graph because pie graphs are best to show percentages. Right? Here's an example: the percentage of mobile phones sold in the third quarter of 2010. Okay. So let's convert this information here into an effective graph. And it says the main religions of country alpha. It says 50% of the people are Buddhists, 30% are Christians, 10% are Muslims, 5% are Hindi, and 5% are atheists. All right. So it's talking about percentages. So let's create that pie graph. All right. Insert pie. And again, what it's going to do is insert a generic pie graph for you. Okay. Notice the bright colors. All right. The different than colors. It's easy to see. Blue, you don't want to go light blue, medium blue, dark blue. No. You want to pick colors that are easily distinguishable, that your audience can clearly see that this team 1 is blue, team 2 is red, team 3 is yellow, team 4 is green. Okay? So let's fix it up where it puts the information that is correct for us. All right. So again, you open the source, and it takes you to Google Sheets, and you have your information up here. Okay, let's start fixing this up. Let's name this. You can edit chart. All right, gotta customize. Chart and access titles. All right, let's name this chart. We can name it the main religions of country. Alpha. All right, make that big and bold. Put in the middle. All right. You can even change the font if you want. There's different types of fonts. Okay, it's up to you. All right. And let's type in the names of religions. All right. So we need 5 religions. Team 1. The religions are Buddhists, Christians, Muslims, Hindi, and atheists. Type that in. Buddhists. Christians, Muslim, Hindi, and atheists. Okay. So let's type in the numbers, the percentages. 50, 30, 10, 5, and 5. 50, 30, 10, 5, 5. As you can see, Google Sheets picks the colors for you, 5 very different colors. And each section of the pie graph is a major religion, a main religion of country alpha. Let's make this bigger so where people can see it. Edit the chart. Each pie slice has each name. You can go to legend and we can pick one. Let's put it onto the right. There you are. Has all the different colors. Tells you what each color mean. Make this big. Let's make that title bigger. There we go. Okay. So now, blue is Buddhist, red is Christian, and so on. If you want to put the numbers in here, you can go to pie chart. And you can even add a donut hole if you want, like that. Okay, that looks cool. Slice label. You want to label it like that. It has the labels. Or, even better, I'd use the percentage. There you are. Okay. You want to make those numbers bigger? Just click on the number. It says label font size. You can make that big. There you are. Make that in bold. Okay. There. So there's many things you can do. You can play with it to your style. But remember, the main point is that these charts, these graphs, they're here to complement your presentation. So they have to be clean and easy to read for your audience. All right, let's go. All right, so we're happy with that. Let's copy that chart. Copy. And you don't need to link. All right, paste. There we go. That looks good. Okay. So we converted this information here into something that's very clear and easy for the audience to read, to this. All right. I'm going to send that home with you. Let's go to line graph. All right. So a line graph is used to show trends over time. It's useful to show an increase, a decrease, or changes in something over a period of time. Right? So this, when you were doing your thesis writing, and sometimes you wanted to compare student attendance, GPA, costs of schools, and the line graph is very nice to use when you want to show trends over a period of time. Like right here, the example they gave you was the attendance at East and North Parks. All right, you have 2 parks. The orange line is East Park, and the purple line is North Park. And you're showing a trend. Here, this one shows that the trend went from April to July. There was a big increase, all right, big increase at North Park, while at East Park, it pretty much stayed the same. So something special must have happened at North Park between those months to increase the attendance. Here it is. You want to show a trend over time. Line graph, all right? So the line graph is very similar to the vertical bar graph, is that the vertical bar graph also shows a trend over time. But the line graph is really nice to show if there's an increase and decrease also, okay? It's also good to show when there's a big difference in something over time. All right. Let's look at this. Let's convert one more piece of information into an effective graph. Right? And it says right here, our results showed that a student's GPA was connected to their attendance. Student who always came to class had GPAs over 3.8. Students who came to class most of the time had GPAs of approximately 3.2. Students who sometimes came to class had GPAs of approximately 2.7. Students who hardly ever came to class had GPAs of under 2. All right, let's change that to an effective graph. I'm going to choose the line graph. Okay. And again, Google just picked something for you. Let's open the source. Get out of there. All right. Here we are. Okay, so now we have a line graph that we can put in our own data. Go back and look at our data. So first, the title, students' GPA connection to attendance. All right, let's title that. Oops, sorry. Up here. All right, and the chart title pops up. All right. Student GPA connection to attendance. A student's GPA connection to attendance. We can always change the title anytime. Let's make that big, bold, in the middle. We are. We only have one thing. Again, we don't have two, because we only have one student's an overall GPA. Let's say you have student A versus student B. You can do that. But in our information here, we just had an overall GPA of the school. All right, so let's take out all of that column. And here we are. We have overall students' GPA connection to attendance. Go ahead and name that. Students' overall GPA connection to attendance. All right. And now let's let's start defining our x-axis. That's going to be the GPA. That's going to be how often they come to class. And it goes from hardly ever, sometimes, most of the time, always. Let's go down here. So team 1 is hardly ever. Next is sometimes. Next is most of the time. And this one is always came to class. And then our y-axis can be our GPA. So let's define our GPA from, it goes from 0 to 4, of course. And hardly ever was 2.0, 2.7, 3.2, and 3.8. Let's punch that into a graph. Hardly ever was 2.0, sometimes 2.7, 3.2 was most of the time, and 3.8 was always. 3.2, yeah, 3.8. All right, so we have, let's define our minimum, maximum value, minimum 0. To show, let's just make maximum 5. All right. Okay. Let's name our title, our axis, our horizontal axis. That's going to be frequency of classroom attendance. Make that big. Doesn't need to be in italics. There you are. And then our vertical axis is their student GPA. Again, let's make that big. Okay. Things we can do. Can make this font bigger also, so that's visible to the audience. Okay. Let's make these numbers big. Remember, you want big text, big font, clearly easy to read. Okay. So students that hardly ever came to class. All right, our title. Our legend. Let's keep that to the right. make that big, bold, and let's name that. So that line is their GPA. All right, there you go. Things we can do, additional things. If you want standard deviation, that's something you can do. So if you want to add standard deviation, let's go up here, edit, and go to customize, go to series. All right, so here's things you can add. You can make a dot, you can add dots. Right. So let's say you want to add data labels. Here we go. So this it puts the GPA right there. You can make the data label font size bigger, all right, and bold, so it shows the GPA. And if you want to show standard deviation, you go to error bars right here. And here's your standard deviation. You can set your error value to what percentage you want. Okay. You want to show a trend. This is a good, let's change that line color to something more vibrant, something different. Let's make that thick. All right, so this line, see now you can also show a trend over time where the red line is the trend line, and then your audience can see that, yes, the more often that a student goes to class, all right, the higher their GPA will be, okay? All right, that looks pretty good. Copy that. Like here. Paste. All right, so what we did, we have this nice looking graph, line graph, right? And it shows we converted this information, which could be difficult to read if it's on your visual slide, into something like this, which is a lot nicer, cleaner, and your audience probably will better understand your presentation. Okay, that's it for this week's lesson on presentations. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send, for homework, I'm going to send information like this or like this, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you pick the correct kind of graph that for you to create, and I'm going to have you create these graphs. You can use Google Sheets. You can use Microsoft Excel. You can draw. You can draw the graph. All right. Whatever you need to do. All right. But when you submit your information, please submit it using Google Classroom. Right? If you take a picture, what you would have to do is you upload your picture into Google Classroom when you upload a file, and just send it through Google Classroom. I will still see it, all right? But remember, the most important thing about all these graphs is that they have to be clear, and you have to pick the correct type of graph, right? The guideline, right? They have to be clear. They have to be in big text, nice colors. Your audience can easily see what you're talking about, all right? And finally, KISS, right? Keep it short and simple. We don't want unnecessary information or details. Nice round numbers and no extra words. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm going to send the homework home tonight. If you have any problems or any questions, please send me using Google Classroom. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.